done some things with software development and adding.
The horizontal carousel is coming to retail distribution. Let's talk about how that's happening with my guest today, Mike Yezzi. He is Vice President of Business Development with ScottTech. Mike, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Would you explain for our viewers exactly what is a horizontal carousel?
Well, a horizontal carousel is basically shelving on a track. If you've ever been to the dry cleaners and you've seen your clothes go around in a circle, that's what a horizontal carousel is. We take that concept, we hang bins off of it, fill it up full of parts, and send them around to the operators.
So why up to this point has it been a problem applying that in retail distribution?
Well, there's been some limitations in retail distribution with a horizontal. Typically, in a horizontal situation, you can only have one operator standing in front of what we call a pod of units. So 3 or 4 horizontal carousels in a grouping creates a pod. And typically one operator runs that pod. And in a retail distribution environment, when the Christmas season comes around and you need to pick more parts and you need to hit your customers' demands, one operator in the pod could be a limitation.
Mm-hmm. So, but how is it changing to the point where now horizontal carousels can in fact be used in retail distribution?
Well, we've done some things with software development and adding some new technologies with lights for the operators to deliver the carousel bin to the operator and then drive them to the right location for picking. And in some of the new changes in software have allowed us to break the pod up to add more operators to give the flexibility that they need in retail distribution.
Why would a retail operation be looking at this? What would be the advantages to adopting it for that environment?
Well, the horizontal carousels bring the parts to the operator, so you know, in a traditional distribution center, the operators are traveling to the bin shelves to go pick the parts. Using a horizontal carousel with software brings the carousels to the operator and eliminates all the walking and searching, increasing the productivity of the operator.
Does it also change the layout of the facility? I mean, you can store stuff back in a part of the facility that's not necessarily easily accessible by human beings, right?
Sure, and it also reduces a lot of the footprint of the building. So instead of building you know, a facility that may be 100,000 square feet, you might be able to get away with a facility that's only 65 or 70,000 square feet.
Yeah. Are there still limitations, single operator limitations or other type of limitations as this applies to the retail environment?
Well, not anymore, because we've done some things with, like I said, with the software to detach the pod, which allows us to put more than one operator in a grouping of carousels. By using additional lights and additional sort devices over the totes, we can put in 4 operators in a pod. Each operator is picking from a single carousel, or you could use 2 operators in the pod picking from 2 carousels. But by using the tablet displays, we can designate which tote goes to which order, which carousel belongs to which tote, and then the operators can be completely independent of one another in the grouping.
So this is the detached pod concept,
That's
is that
correct?
correct?
Yep, what we call detached pod.
And this is how it helps? You're saying the implementation of that can help in that way?
It does, yes, because now you're not limited to the single operator in the pod. So if you have a single operator in a pod, you may be limited to, pick a number, 250 lines per hour for an operator. Now that you detach the pod, each operator in the pod can work independently, so you could have one operator working off of carousel 1 and 2, another operator working off of carousel 3 and 4, thus getting you about 500 lines an hour out of the pod.
What is dynamic batching?
Dynamic batching allows us to keep the orders in the batch moving. So traditionally what would happen is you'd get, for example, 8 orders would roll into the pod, the operator would pick all 8 orders. When those 8 were done, they'd push those off, they'd start another grouping of 8. With the dynamic batching, it allows us to, any single order that is completed, we push that order off onto a conveyor system and it goes away, and we bring another order into that. So it eliminates all of the setup time, the end time when you have to push all the orders off. So now you've got 8 orders in the pod constantly being picked, and the operator never has to set up, start, and complete and end.
What are some other advances that make horizontal carousels especially appropriate for high-speed picking operations?
Well, one of the big things that is always an issue with horizontal carousels is the replenishment. So how do you get the product into the carousel pod so that you can support the orders that are being picked? And we've added some new benefits to the software for opportunity put away. So basically the parts are there, they're sitting in either on the conveyor system or in a flow rack, what we call a universal pod. And then anytime the carousel spins to a location, we might pick the parts out of that location, but if there's a put away that needs to happen at that location or in that bin, we'll direct the operator to take the parts off the flow rack or the conveyor, put those parts into the carousel for what we call an opportunity put away. And that eliminates that whole issue of how do we get product back into the carousels to support the picking operation. And we could do that on the fly. We can do that intermingled with the picks. We could do it as a separate operation. A lot of customers are liking this opportunity put away.
So to what extent has retail in fact embraced the horizontal carousel?
Well, we've seen quite a bit of an increase in the inquiries and the idea that we can actually fluctuate the workforce depending on the order flow. So, for example, we've got a couple of customers out there that they get a big load of work in the morning. They put 2 or 3 operators in the pod, they get through the work first thing in the morning. In the afternoon when the orders slow down, they go back to 1 operator working out of the pod. So they can kind of fluctuate with the workforce depending on what the order profiles look like for the day and what the volumes are.
Mike, thank you so much for helping us to understand how the horizontal carousel can aid in retail distribution operations. Thanks for being with us.
All right, thank you.
I've been speaking with Mike Yezzi of ScottTech. Thank you very much for watching.